Hello everyone, welcome to the Solo Gaming Spotlight. Today I'm sharing my top favorite solo board games of all time. And I'm going to introduce them, give you some visual hints at it, see if you can guess the game before I name drop it. Pay attention to how many you get and let me know down in the comments how many of the games you're actually able to guess before I let you know what they were. But before we dive in, I wanted to let everybody know about a contest we have going here at the channel. It's a giveaway of Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs and a copy of Singularity, a game I designed myself that's available on the Game Crafter. That contest will end when the channel hits 1,500 subscribers, so click the link below and sign up. It's free and it's easy. Anyway, let's get to the list. First honorable mention is a game where you take on the role of a bounty hunter, smuggler, or mercenary, carving out your legacy on the fringe of a well-known galaxy. You'll take odd jobs, upgrade your ship, and maybe even cross paths with some familiar faces. If you like adventure, freedom, and making your own path, then this one's for you. It's Star Wars Outer Rim. You know, this game really captures everything I love about Star Wars. Not the Jedi, not the politics, but the gritty side. Bounty hunters, the smugglers, the misfits scraping by on the edge of the galaxy. Who doesn't want to play as Han Solo or Bossk? And when I saw Boba Fett was playable, that was it for me.
He's worth a lot to me.
What makes this game special is the freedom. You're flying across the galaxy, hiring crew, smuggling contraband, picking up bounties.
He's no good to me dead.
And bumping into all these iconic characters. It's not just thematic, it feels like you're carving out your own legend in the Star Wars universe. And honestly, I prefer this one solo. It allows me to immerse myself in a galaxy far, far away. I won't play it without the Unfinished Business expansion. It adds so much depth and replayability. The solo system is smooth, flip a card, follow the AI, and then back to continuing on with my own emerging narrative. This could have easily cracked my top 10, but for now, it's docked right outside in the Outer Rim. This next honorable mention blends deck building with dungeon crawling, stacks it on top of tower defense, and tops it off with the boss battle. It's one of those games that sounds like it shouldn't work, but somehow it clicks. Each turn begins in the village, where you'll use the cards in your hand to buy spells, items, and gear. You can choose to level up your heroes and also venture into the dungeon to fight monsters, earning XP and slowing down the horde that's marching towards your village. And if you built up enough attack power and gathered enough light, you can go straight for the source of the chaos, the Guardian itself. This is Thunderstone Quest, Barricades mode. I enjoy deck builders in general, but what makes Thunderstone Quest Barricade mode stand out is how it blends deck building with dungeon delving, tower defense, and a boss battler all into one game. Each day, you'll take a village action where you can use the cards in your hand to purchase cards to add to your deck. Spells, weapons, heroes, buy one-time use tokens, buy powerful artifacts, get healed, or spend experience points to level up your adventurers depending on which location in the village you go. Then, if you choose, with any cards you have left, you can take a dungeon action to fight a monster and earn XP. You'll need to generate light to reach deeper into the dungeon, and I enjoy that concept. Each round, the threat level rises, increasing the number of dice the Guardian rolls. These dice show different symbols. Some add attack power to the horde that's coming to attack your village. Others trigger effects unique to the Guardian. If you defeat any monsters this round, you subtract their level from the horde's attack power. If that brings the total to 0 or less, the town's safe. For now. But if not, you draw tokens equal to the horde's remaining attack power and deal that damage to the location listed on the damage token. So you are simultaneously dungeon delving and fighting back the incoming monsters that are destroying your village. Each location can only take 4 damage before it's destroyed. If a location is destroyed, you can no longer use the actions of that location. And if all 5 locations fall, it's game over. You can build barricades at the location you visit in town by spending 10 gold. But just 1 barricade per location though, so it's never a guaranteed save. If you are able to muster enough attack power, and also you have to muster enough light to be able to reach the Guardian, you can land damage on it. Get to the required amount of damage based on the amount of players, and you win. There are numerous things I enjoy about this game, and one of those things is how you can spend XP to level up your heroes, replacing that card with the stronger version. I also really enjoy the prestige classes you can play as, like the Town Guard, where every time the village receives no damage, you can spend XP to level yourself up and unlock abilities, like getting a discount on building barricades, or healing an extra point of damage at the temple. Things like that. I also enjoy that the Guardians attack in different ways, like Smorga, adding festering wounds to your deck to clog it up, or Balok, who adds different types of curses to your deck, each with their own effect. Another cool thing is that the dungeon tiles are modular, and so they swap out with different effects or powers each game. Like the Sunken Well adds an extra defense point to the monster there, and requires at least one light to move into it. If you defeat the monster there, you gain a lantern token, which you can spend for a light point later on. This dangerous passageway adds 4 defense points to the monster there, but for each light point you have, that bonus is reduced by 2. Yet another thing I like about the game is that when you take damage, you add tokens to your player board, left to right. The more damage you take, the smaller your hand size gets. The solo play in Thunderstone Quest shines because I like the way it takes the competitive version, which you're still deck building and you're still dungeon delving, but there's these key cards that are shuffled into the monster's deck, and as soon as somebody draws the 4th key, then that triggers the end of the game. Everybody gets one last turn, and then everybody calculates up their victory points, and then whoever has the most wins. Well, the solo play gets rid of the victory points altogether, and you either win or lose. You either defeat the Guardian, or the Guardian and the minions are going to take out your village, and I tend to like that a little bit more than amassing victory points. So that's my number honorable mention, Thunderstone Quest. My final honorable mention goes to a game where you step into the role of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, recruiting iconic Marvel superheroes to stop a mastermind villain, as they unleash a flood of villains and henchmen into the city and advance their sinister scheme. You'll have to build your deck, combo your heroes, and strike before it's too late. This is Marvel Legendary. I love how customizable Legendary is. You can mix and match heroes versus masterminds with different schemes to create your own comic book style scenarios. Switch up the villains and scheme to pair up with the mastermind, and you've crafted your own issue of a Marvel comic book. What I enjoy most is the different schemes you can play against. One game I might face Magneto as he opens portals to the Dark Dimension, growing stronger with each portal. Then the next game, it's still Magneto, but now he's replacing Earth's leaders with killbots. And if too many escape the city, I lose. It keeps the core mechanics familiar, but swapping from one scheme to the next is kind of like switching between different comic book issues, at least abstractly anyway. It keeps things fresh. On your turn, you play your cards and recruit heroes and attack enemies. Possibly both if you can. The heroes have symbols on their card, allowing you to combo into recruiting more expensive hero cards or powerful attacks. Then the enemy flips a card from their deck, sometimes resulting in a scheme twist that has unique effects based on the scheme you're playing against. You play until you reach the losing condition on the scheme, or the enemy's deck runs out. You win if you defeat the mastermind 4 times. In solo play, I really appreciate the pacing of the game. You take your turn, you flip a card for the enemy, right back to you, there's no downtime. Whereas in multiplayer, you're waiting on your teammates to take their turn, and then inevitably, the lot of you are purchasing the cards from the hero headquarters that probably synergize better within somebody else's deck. But that's the only card you can afford, and you're going to get it rather than not. Because of the fast pacing, every time I get it to the table, I usually get multiple plays of this game in, and after owning it for close to 10 years, it still sees repeated table time. So that's my honorable mention / number 10, Marvel Legendary. Coming in at number 10 itself is a game where you'll place your various workers to build outposts and fortifications, commission monks, both fight and convert outsiders, recruit more citizens to your cause, and even pray as you work to increase your strength, faith, and influence. Can you get the most out of your paladins? That's right, it's Paladins of the West Kingdom. When I'm in the mood for a nice, chunky, dinky worker placement game, this is my go-to. Every turn is a satisfying little puzzle. Choosing the right paladin for this round while already thinking ahead to the next, picking the right mix of worker types, and deciding which actions to take based on the tracks I want to push. It's all wrapped in this gritty medieval theme that just clicks for me. You're building your strength, faith, and influence across a series of turns, placing workers to attack, convert, defend, and construct in service of your medieval kingdom. One of the things I really love about this game, first and foremost, is the clever design. I love how certain actions require a certain attribute, but then they strengthen another one altogether. For example, attacking requires strength, but it boosts your influence. Many actions work this way, requiring one attribute and rewarding another, creating a thoughtful back and forth between short-term needs and long-term growth. What really makes this shine is how it affects your paladin selection. I almost always want the bonus action of one paladin, but sometimes another offers the attribute boost I desperately need. That tension adds an extra layer of planning that I find incredibly engaging. I also enjoy how the King's Favor cards come out over the course of the game. They add new worker placement spots that can completely shift your plans in a good way. Add in the engine building, always a satisfying mechanic, and the decision to spend 2 workers instead of 1 to supercharge an action, and you've got this layered experience that constantly pushes you to weigh short-term gains against long-term momentum. And when those two align, it's satisfying. As for solo play, this game is perfect for it. It's already mostly a solitaire experience by design, and I love being able to sit and think for 10 minutes without being distracted about holding anyone else up. In multiplayer, that kind of deep planning comes in with a ticking clock. It distracts me and makes me feel rushed. But in solo, it is the heart of the experience. And so Paladins of the West Kingdom lands in at my number 10 spot. Coming in at number 9 is a game that makes me feel like a detective in a crime drama, where the clock is ticking, clues might be hiding in plain sight, and everyone has something to hide. You'll chase down leads, interrogate shady suspects, grill witnesses, and cross-examine every person of interest as you try to connect the dots before the case slips through your fingers. I'm talking about Chronicles of Crime. I love how this game pulls me into an investigation and makes me analyze information. Hold on. The gardener said the gate was closed all night, but now it's open, and the neighbor says she thinks she saw somebody slipping through it at midnight. Did the gardener misspeak? Or is he lying? What I enjoy most is searching the crime scene for clues. The immersiveness in this game is fantastic. If you caught a glimpse of me mid-investigation, you'd swear it was a scene from A Beautiful Mind. I've got sticky notes on cards, arrows connecting suspects to locations, and a perplexed look on my face that says I definitely need more coffee in order to solve this one. The reason it shines in solo play is the challenge of taking on the mystery all by myself. I can sink into the story, follow hunches, revisit old leads, and really let the investigation breathe. It becomes a personal battle of wits between me and the case. And that's where the game absolutely thrives. Honestly, I've never played this game multiplayer because it's just that good solo. That's my number 9, Chronicles of Crime. Coming in at number 8 is a game that scratches a very specific itch. One that mixes dice drafting, clever decision making, and character creation into one beautiful brain-burning package. You're not out saving the world. You're not even going on an adventure. You're prepping to go on the adventure. And somehow, that's the best part. You'll spend the whole game building a hero who may never even leave the tavern, but they'll look so ready if they ever do. If you know, you know, and if you don't, you're in for a treat. It's Roleplayer. Roleplayer has a uniqueness all its own. There's something incredibly satisfying about slotting just the right colored die into the correct attribute slot, making sure the row hits a target value or stays within a required range, and then using the attribute's bonus action to hit another target requirement. Every decision feels layered, and every die has the potential to solve one problem while potentially creating another. And somehow, that's exactly what makes it so engaging. Add in the chance to buy weapons, skills, and traits, each offering points or unique powers, and you're constantly weighing your options. And I enjoy the player's alignment section, where I try to purchase the right skills and traits to manipulate my character's alignment into the right square. I love how Roleplayer turns something as simple as placing a die into a mini puzzle of priorities. Do I chase the color match, lock in my charisma target, or drop this 2 into strength so I can flip the 1 into a 6 for wisdom? And when you nail a placement that checks multiple boxes at once, it's incredibly satisfying. What makes Roleplayer shine solo is there's practically no AI. You just roll a die and discard a market card to simulate an opponent, and it works well. It keeps the pace quick and the focus sharp. Just you, the dice, and the challenge of crafting a true hero. I highly recommend the Monsters and Minions expansion. It allows you to fight monsters when there's nothing that you want to purchase in the market. It also provides a chunky dice rolling showdown at the end of the game to make you feel like you crafted your hero for a reason. That's my number 8, Roleplayer. Coming into number 7 is a game where the dungeon builds as you explore it. Treasures call from every corner, and every noisy step risks attracting a dragon's wrath. It's a race for riches, but only if you make it out alive. You'll need a sharp deck, a quiet step, and just enough luck to escape the catacombs before they become your tomb. This is Clank Catacombs. Clank Catacombs takes deck building, a mechanic I really enjoy, and adds this modular evolving map of exploration and risk. Every tile reveals a new opportunity, or a new danger, and I'm constantly torn between deciding to delve deeper or start to dash for the exit before the dragon makes a meal of me. The push your luck tension is real, and escaping the dungeon with a couple of artifacts with the mere 1 to 2 health left is the epitome of a greedy gamble gone right. What I enjoy most about Catacombs is the modular map. It pretty much renders the other versions of Clank obsolete, outside of the legacy versions. I love those. Multiplayer, of course. Every playthrough feels fresh as the dungeon unfolds in unpredictable ways. I also enjoy the addition of lockpicks to free prisoners, uncover major secrets, occasionally pick up secret tomes on the cheap, and slip through locked passageways. I do have to say that I enjoy Clank much more multiplayer than I do solo, but I will never hesitate to get it at a table when no one else is around. Direwolf offers a companion app with a 6-part solo campaign, which I really enjoyed. But when I want to play solo without the app, I just roll 3 6-sided dice each turn and discard the matching market cards. This keeps the deck cycling and triggers dragon attacks. I also use dummy cubes to simulate another player's cubes in the dragon bag. So at game start, I add 3 dummy cubes, as well as 3 cubes of my own to the Clank area, and whenever a card calls for it, I toss their cubes into the Clank area. They don't move to the dungeon or interact in any way. It's clean, simple, and it works well. This game works surprisingly well solo because the exit strategy depends on my own greed and risk tolerance. I always seem to convince myself to go for that second artifact, free a couple extra prisoners, or hit the market one more time. And then, 3 of my cubes come out of the bag, and now it's time to run. And somehow, the Catacombs always seem to know I'm in escape mode, because like clockwork, no pun intended, it rotates the very tile I'm standing on and seals my fate. That's my number 7, Clank Catacombs. Coming in at number 6 is a family of games where your character fights their way through scenario after scenario, striking down enemies, looting treasure, gaining levels, buying and discovering gear, and eventually retiring. But retirement isn't the end, it's the beginning, because that opens the door for your next hero, with one thing staying the same. Every decision matters. You're constantly managing your limited hand of cards, each one representing both your actions and your stamina. Burn too many too fast, and you'll exhaust yourself before the dungeon is cleared. Play it too safe, and you may not survive the next ambush. This is the Havens. Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, Jaws of the Lion, and Buttons and Bugs. A legendary lineage of games that redefine dungeon crawling for me. They blend tactical combat, evolving narratives, and rich character progression into a saga that's as satisfying on your 50th play as it is on your first. Gloomhaven's card play is what sets it apart from every other dungeon crawler I've ever played. Most games in the genre fall into the trap of repetition. Move, attack, move, attack, move, repeat. But Gloomhaven takes those same core actions and wraps them in a much more compelling decision space. Every turn, you're choosing the top action of one card and the bottom of another, while also weighing initiative. And you know that once you cycle through your hand, one of those cards is gone for the rest of the mission. That adds weight to every play. I could attack for 6, and then use this card to double the damage. Probably one-shotting that hard-hitting stone golem. But I'd have to burn both cards to do it, and that leaves me with only 7 for the rest of the scenario, and we still have an unopened room to explore. And then there are the hidden battle goals. Objectives that tempt you into making greedy or risky plays just to power up your modifier deck for future scenarios. Like deciding not to attack the monster and grab the loot instead while everyone else is resting. And outside of combat, the slow leveling process is incredibly satisfying. As you gain XP, you unlock new ability cards, and make choices for which cards to add or remove from your attack modifier deck. It evolves over time, shaping your combat style and identity. What really makes the system shine is how each character plays differently. Yes, they all move and attack like in other dungeon crawlers, but your starting hand size, card effects, and mechanics create entirely distinct playstyles. One character might specialize in manipulating enemy positioning, while another manipulates elemental energy to boost their abilities. Other games offer class variety, but Gloomhaven's card-driven execution just speaks to me. That being said, this is the only game that doesn't shine for me solo, except for that brilliant Buttons and Bugs version, which, by the way, we're doing a giveaway on the channel when we hit 1,500 subs. Check out the details in the comments below. And Buttons and Bugs is what actually earns the Havens a spot on this list. Now, I love them all, but for solo, it's Buttons and Bugs. Gloom, Frost, and the Lion all require you to control multiple characters, and for me that slows the game down and I find it less enjoyable, even in the digital version. Now with that being said, I'm still working through the Frosthaven campaign with my gaming group. But as soon as that campaign ends, who knows, maybe I'll go back and try multi-handed again and fall in love with it. But for right now, my go-to for solo play is Buttons and Bugs. Even though it drops things like the card enhancement and modifier deck customization, it still delivers the card play that I love. And that's my number 6, The Havens. Sitting in at number 5 is a game where you'll gather spice, forge alliances with powerful factions, and deploy agents across a vast desert empire. Every decision tightens the tension as you build your deck for politics and unavoidable warfare, all while positioning your house to reign supreme. Only one house will rise to claim control of the most coveted planet in the universe, Arrakis. This is Dune Imperium. I generally prefer hand management over worker placement, but Dune Imperium ties them together brilliantly. Needing a card with the matching symbol to access an action space is genius. It elevates worker placement by making every market purchase more strategic. You're not just buying powerful cards, you're shaping your future options on the board. The tension is high throughout the game as it's a race to 10 points and every placement matters. One of the things I love most is the subject matter. I love the book. Top 10, no doubt. And the game ties into it beautifully. Don't get me wrong, the game is fantastic. This isn't just some theme pasted on top of a board game. It brings the world of Dune to life, and one of the ways it does that is the end-of-round conflict that really captures the political tension and power struggles that are prevalent in the novel. The solo play shines because it keeps the tension up. The AI opponent gains a victory point every time it collects a certain amount of resources, wins combat, or advances through worker placement, and it creates the feeling of watching sand slip through an hourglass every turn. The unknown combat power card it draws during combat keeps me on my toes. I do use the app, which rotates the cards out of the market each turn, but simply rolling 2 dice and removing the matching cards works just as effectively. I think the AI opponents are fantastic and easy to run, so much so that it actually elevates the 2-player game, and that's quite rare. This is another game I really enjoy with an expansion, and for me, The Rise of Ix is it. That's my number 5, Dune Imperium. Coming in at number 4 is a game where you are the native force fighting back against relentless invaders. These explorers arrive with ambition, spreading across your homeland, building settlements, and corrupting your pristine lands with blight. But you're no passive observer. You'll harness elemental powers to push them back, strike fear into their hearts, and unleash destructive force to reclaim your land. This is Spirit Island. The replayability in Spirit Island is extraordinary. The asymmetry of the spirits means that each one reshapes how you approach the game. Some are defensive and slow burning, others are fast and aggressive, but they all feel powerful in different ways. Learning to master their unique abilities is a challenge in itself. The simplicity of the explore, build, and ravage sequence for the colonizers contrasts beautifully with the complexity of your own fast and slow powers. It creates this elegant puzzle where timing, synergy, and foresight are everything. You're not just reacting, you're anticipating, planning, and growing in power as the game unfolds. What I enjoy most is the thoughtful card play. I often want to play one card for its powerful effect, but another for the element symbol it provides. Balancing how the two work best with the other cards in my hand and the power being used creates a decision space that I really enjoy. I can only speak about the solo experience in Spirit Island because I've only ever played this game solo, and it's still delivering fantastic gameplay. One day I know I'll get it to the table with my gaming group and it'll unlock a whole new level of fun. But for right now, I'm keeping that present wrapped with a bow for a rainy day. And right now, there's currently a cloud-free, beautiful blue sky. That's my number 4, Spirit Island. Coming in at number 3 is a game where you'll assemble a fellowship of iconic heroes and embark on perilous quests across familiar lands, facing down terrifying foes. Each turn presents a crucial choice. Which of your heroes will venture forth on the quest, and which will stay behind, combat ready for enemies that may strike. Balancing bold exploration with tight defense as you uncover new locations, battle pesky foes, and race against a mounting threat makes every turn feel like a chapter straight from Tolkien himself. This is the Lord of the Rings, the living card game. This game delivers such a fantastic experience in Middle-earth. From the heroes you command to the allies you recruit, from the iconic locations you traverse to the enemies you battle, it all feels alive with theme. Each scenario tells a different tale, making every playthrough feel like a new chapter in your own Tolkien adventure. What I love most is the sheer variety of adventures I can go on. I've owned this game for years and have nearly every out-of-print quest except the multiplayer-focused ones, since my gaming group doesn't like this game. I know. Their loss, not mine. The story that unfolds through gameplay in each scenario is what makes this game shine for me. It's rich, immersive, and endlessly replayable. Now this game can actually feel like two separate experiences. One is the deck construction experience where you choose a scenario, your 3 heroes, and build a deck around the 3 heroes you have, and then go and take on the scenario. Surprisingly enough, that's not really where I enjoy the game at. I prefer just to pick a scenario and grab a deck I already have and go against it, slowly swap out some cards after the loss, and repeat that process. Yes, I am a sucker for punishment, but it makes the win feel that much more rewarding after several repeated plays when I finally do get that win. What I love most about solo play is something that really surprised me. I typically prefer playing true solo whenever possible, meaning one-handed. And when I first learned this game with all its phases and precise card timing, I couldn't even imagine running a second hand. Honestly, I didn't want to. There were times when the threat area was overloaded with cards, each with their own triggers, and I'd miss effects, rewind turns, and things got messy. But as I became more comfortable with the system and its action windows, that complexity became part of the charm. Then I saw a video where someone recommended trying two-handed play, and wow! Handling the board state and threat area became so much more manageable. I instantly wished I had tried it sooner. The ranged and sentinel keywords truly shine in multi-handed play. You also cycle through more of the encounter deck, which gives you a fuller, more dynamic sense of the adventure, making the entire experience feel richer and more complete. Now I'm putting together my top 10 favorite quests for this game, along with a full write-up on why that quest made the list on my website, which is linked below. Sign up for the newsletter so you'll be informed when it drops. While you're there, you can also enter the Buttons and Bugs giveaway. If you've never played this game before and you find that we have similar tastes based off of this top 10 list, or some of my other top 10 lists, then I recommend you give this game a try if you love the world that Tolkien created in Middle-earth. This may end up becoming one of your all-time favorite games. Fantasy Flight has released some revised editions, and you should start there. It's a lot easier to get into the game now than it was back when I started. That's my number 3, The Lord of the Rings, The Living Card Game. Coming in at number 2 is a game where you'll attempt to take on a villain and stop them from enacting their nefarious scheme. You'll switch back and forth between your secret identity and your heroic form, balancing recovery with retaliation in a race to save the day, employing allies, upgrades, and your own unique abilities to thwart their plans. This is Marvel Champions. I love how this game makes me feel like the superhero I'm playing, thanks to its unique and deeply thematic card play. Whether I'm firing one of Hawkeye's explosive arrows or slamming enemies with Cap's shield toss, every action rings true to the character. I also really enjoy the core hand management. Having to spend cards from your hand to play others leads to interesting decisions. Do I web up the villain to hold them down for a turn or two? Or do I play my web shooter now and hold on to my backflip to dodge a big attack as needed? The gameplay, where you're trying to build up your board state while trying to answer the villain's next move, pushes you to make smart plays, manage your threat, and time your recoveries just right. And this constant push and pull, plus how differently the heroes play, just keeps me coming back. But what I enjoy most is how easy it is to get to the table. I just grab a pre-con deck or a slightly tweaked version from my last run, and 9 times out of 10 I toss Claw on the table and dive straight into the fight. I know his tricks by now, and that allows me to focus on getting familiar with the new hero I'm taking him on with. Marvel Champions really shines in solo play because of the challenge it presents. Can I take out this villain with this hero? Sometimes I can, and it's a satisfying victory. But other times I'll suffer a defeat, and that is the perfect time for me to ask myself, what couple cards can I swap in, and which one should I swap out? And then it's right back to the battlefield. That's my number 2, Marvel Champions. Coming in as my all-time favorite solo game is one where you'll explore vast territories and grow in power. By defeating enemies, discovering powerful artifacts, gaining loyal followers, and even conquering cities. All of it builds towards leveling up your arcane warrior into a true force of reckoning. You'll carefully plan every turn, charting your path as circumstances evolve, taking down wizard towers, pillaging ancient tombs, and occasionally burning down the local monastery. Reputation be damned. This is Mage Knight. What can I say about Mage Knight that hasn't already been said? Each turn is a puzzle, figuring out the best use of your cards to accomplish your goals. Every card offers a basic action, but even better, each has a supercharged version you can unleash if your mage fuels it with magic. Combine that with your unique skills, your followers' abilities, and smart planning, and you'll find yourself pulling off some incredibly satisfying turns. What I love most is how you grow in power. You gain fame, level up, unlock new skills, and add powerful advanced actions to your deck. But the real magic lies in the freedom to shape that deck the way you want. There are always 3 powerful spells and advanced actions available to pursue, and if you want them, you can go get them. Take down enemies at mage towers to earn spells, or train at monasteries to acquire advanced actions. Every step of your progression is tied to decisions you make and the path you carve out. And then there are the artifacts, the most powerful cards in the game, earned by burning down monasteries or conquering dungeons and tombs. These moments of high risk and high reward are all part of the experience. That freedom, that puzzle, that feeling of growing in power, it's all deeply tied into why I enjoy this game so much. That's what makes Mage Knight my #1 solo game, and the only time I'll ever play it multiplayer is to teach someone else, just to give them a taste of the decision space and see if it's a world that they'll fall in love with too. So there you have it, my top 10 favorite solo games of all time. These won't be leaving my collection because they all get back to the table. Let me know in the comments below, how many of the 13 games on this list were you able to guess before I name dropped them? Be honest. And if you liked the video, please click the like button and consider subscribing if you're not subscribed already, because I do have more solo gaming content on the way. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you next time, and happy gaming.